useful. I want to be helpful to upcoming designers. You won't believe I was not very familiar with Figma. Once you are in sync, you can do better things every time.
Hey everyone, welcome to Design Head Podcast. And I think this is the 40 to 46 or something podcast. I still don't remember the number. But thank you everyone for coming in and thank you everyone for showing your love to the podcast. Today, that's why we have a very special guest, Sanjeevini, with us. She recently did her master's in interaction design and she has been doing freelancing for a long while. So we're going to get those secret tips out from her and we're going to talk about a lot of things around design and her experience and her journey. So stay tuned till the end, and I'll just get Sanjeevni on the screen, and then we'll start. Hey Sanjeevni, how are you doing?
Hey, hi Abhay, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing lovely.
Amazing. So let's just start the podcast with a little bit of your introduction for the people out there.
Sure. So, my name is Sanjeevini Mehandale. I am from Karnataka and I have been in Bangalore for last 7 years now. And I'm an engineer. I did my engineering in electronics and communication. And then I went on to do my master's in interaction design. And right now it's been a year and a half that I'm freelancing and I'm loving it.
Amazing. And but definitely we're gonna get into the pieces like why did you choose freelancing and other pieces. But I want to start with your bachelor's because and the reason why you started designing. So how and why like design came into your life? Like while you chose engineering as a path, but then how design?
So, engineering was not my choice, but I would not complain a bit about it because the foundation that it builds, trust me, I have seen the difference. It creates a lot of impact on you. Like all the life skills, though you may not be very interested in the subject, but the life skills that you're going to build in engineering, I feel it's going to take you places. So never I'll complain about my engineering. I loved it. I was good at it. I enjoyed electronics. So that was the journey. But and I got very placed in my seventh semester. I was okay with it. Ki, okay, chalo, I'll do corporate 9 to 5 job. That's fine. But then it made me question whether that is what my calling is, because now that I have a job, now I have time to think also ki whether I want to pursue this. So that's when it hit me. My friend helped me realize this. He kept questioning ki is this what you want to do. So that helped me a lot. So I was fortunate that way that I have good friends also in my life. And I started exploring that what other options do I have. And I stumbled upon design. I had a knack for it. I loved arts and crafts. I have an inclination towards all the creative things in life. So I thought, why not? And still, I had a very generic approach to it, that I want to do something in design, but what in design was a question. So that's what led me to take a drop year. So after my engineering, it was the peak pandemic 2020. So that also helped me. I took a drop year. I explored my options. I learned about the subject before I went into masters, which is a very big decision in your life. I explored what the subject is about, what is it going to deal with, how I'll be able to utilize my engineering skills in my upcoming profession. So all those things I explored. I did a lot of courses in the due time, because obviously I was at home and I had so much time. Why not utilize it in the best possible way, right? So many courses related to UI, UX, graphic designing. I explored. I gave entrance exams to like multiple colleges, and then that was the way I ventured into design field, I can say.
Amazing. Sounds amazing. And I think definitely we can see with the guitar in the background that you definitely have your creative side there. But but I think that's really interesting because uh, while I've seen a lot of folks doing design after engineering, but very less folks kind of continue to pursue as a masters and then continue because people feel they're in the industry now. So or like either like they will figure out by their own. Very less people do masters
Mm,
and I think that's their own path to take.
right.
But definitely you chose as a master's, and we're gonna get dive. So how? has been your college, like your bachelor's, helped you to become a better designer? Like, does those fundamental principles, like, does really help when you are interacting with engineers or like your stakeholders now? How is that then?
So because I myself am an engineer, I kind of get where they are coming from, because as interaction designers, we have to by default interact with developers, engineers. So that way, before making a illogical or unreasonable demand, I put myself in their place. That okay, I can't just demand anything and everything, right? So that way it helps. And then secondly, like I said, life skills, interacting with people, managing deadlines, doing things in the like pressure, all those things are definitely something that you pick up as an engineer. So that way bachelors helped me a lot to keep up and work during my masters and also in my work life.
Sounds amazing, and I think that as a designer is really a upside. If you know or if you have the engineering background, it really helps to kind of figure out these things. So the next question would be around your first gig. So how did you land your first gig in design, and like what was it about? And if you're open to it, like what was the pay about it?
So I was really fortunate. I recognize this aspect a lot, that I have been fortunate throughout my life, touchwood. So I got into my masters in August and September, and in October, I just blindly applied for an internship. There was a demand in one of design communities. Actually, somebody posted a requirement for an intern, and I applied, saying that, see, I don't have experience, I have understanding. I'm not an expert. I have just ventured into the field. I have studied about it, but I believe that I can make some contribution to your work. So that's how I approached it. And this was with a company called Smart Diet Planner, run by Mr. Puneet Manchanda and Sarthak Manchanda. It's a Delhi based health startup. So they were really generous. They were very understanding. They were very accepting, never treated me like, oh, you're just an intern or something. They involved me in the process. They let me speak. Though my skills were not up to the mark, they understood that okay, she has some ideas, so maybe we can leverage on that. So even identifying that is actually, I believe, a very big skill. So that way they gave me a 3-month internship, and I learned a lot during the process. Honestly, I had no clue how things work. Even their in-house visual designer, he helped me with the software skills. He told me that maybe you can do this to do it faster, or some other tricks like that. So that way it went on, and it was really good. And you asked about the compensation for it. It was very less. It was 8,000 a month, but I would say it was way more than that, because I learned so much in that 3 months. Yeah.
And I think it's more about the experience overall,
Hmm.
rather than just the pay. And I think people should definitely take this from here, that in this in the starting you should focus on getting to places where you can learn rather than where you can earn. So and that's an important lesson to kind of keep up. And eventually, as you said, you would have taken a journey into different aspects of things. You would have understood how industry works, how people work, how things happen. uh, and as you said, that's an important holistic factor a designer should take forward as. uh,
Absolutely.
that's really interesting. So then how did your like how did then masters came into place? How did you decide that you want to take that masters route, not a self-taught or like not directly getting into industry? How did you decide that masters is your way to go?
So for me, I, in my vision, have this in my mind that someday I want to get into academia. I want to teach. I want to give back to the design community. People have helped me so much in my journey, and I know they will help throughout. So same way, I want to be useful. I want to be helpful to upcoming designers. So I somewhere have that in my mind, and for that I believe that a master's degree would be beneficial. And I also had PhD in mind, I would say. Right now I am not very sure about it, but again, I have that option to pursue it. So I wanted to keep that option open for myself. And masters, I believe that right now, in interaction design, not many people are opting for it, or it's believed that okay, I can manage by learning on my own, which works out for a lot of people, I agree. But in the long run, I feel what has happened with engineering over the time, that everybody is an engineer. So this saturation might come in a couple of years, I feel, because the way the industry has rapidly grown post pandemic, the differentiating factor has to be there, right? Something. So I feel that maybe in some couple of years, the differentiating factor would end up becoming a degree or a qualification which is legit and which is holistic, because masters not only is just about learning interaction design, it has so much more involved in it. We have like, starting from the basics, we are doing graphic design, we are understanding photography basics, everything which will somehow indirectly contribute to your field has been taught. So you have that exposure, and it's not just about the subject alone, not just about design also. There is sustainability, then there is social impact. So subjects like these will give you like a vision to think of things beyond design also. So I think that is important. People now are forgetting that it's not just the subject or the skill that you're picking up. You should also understand that what you're doing and how it is going to affect or help or benefit people. So that aspect comes when you know things in a bigger picture manner, I feel. Yeah.
Makes sense, because I also agree, and I feel recently also I heard from someone that that education, like, is design degree important. So the person said that education definitely is an important factor. Now in the scenario now, it doesn't matter where you get the education from. What matters is if you should just have the education.
Yes.
So now, nowadays, I even agree with that statement. People take different routes, self taught or like masters, and definitely. And I really love the point that you said that later on there will be the differentiating factor between designers, and like finding the right designer will be like how, like, your education, your degree, or like these things will definitely matter. Uh, while they don't right now, sure, skills are something that won't go away. Skills will always be the top priority, but degree always pushes you forward, like in the overall process.
Yes.
uh, and that makes a lot of sense. Amazing. So how was your master's experience, like, because you have done bachelor's, and that's a question I really want to ask someone, because I've always tried to make sense of it from my own sense, or like asking people who have just done design degrees. But how was your master's, and how would you say was it different from an engineering degree to a like a design degree?
So the very major difference is you have a very less time in your masters. Obviously, it's just 2 years. So in that, I was very unfortunate that the first year went on in pandemic. So we did only online courses, and later it was just 6 to 8 months that we attended the college. But I would say that masters was more, for me personally, I was more focused, and it was the subject, it was the education, and that was my objective. So for me, engineering was fun. We had fun, we enjoyed, participated in activities, hosted events, all that I had thoroughly enjoyed in my engineering. So maybe that helped me to be more focused, because I enjoyed everything. I did everything I could in my bachelor's. So in my masters, I was more driven towards how to lead my career ahead, rather than just studying. I started working parallelly. I did courses online. I was looking for mentors online, how I can take guidance from them, learn from them. So my whole 2 years went in like polishing my skills, and this was the route that I took. And again, I had friends who also enjoyed master's degree thoroughly. They were part of clubs, they were part of events, everything. And so I don't think it's like a very huge difference, but it's your approach, how you take ahead with it. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. So, as for what I know, usually in masters there are no exams. There are juries, right? As
Yes.
per what I remember. So,
Yeah.
how is that like? How that works?
So firstly, I think I'm not familiar with the other fields, but in design, giving an exam hardly makes any sense, because unless it's a software that you are asking them particular commands for it, or something very technical information that you're asking, exams won't help anyone assess someone else's design skills, right? So for us, jury has been the approach. So every module that we did, every activity that we did during the class, or for the final project that we had, these things were taken into account. And our faculties encouraged the process itself. They emphasized a lot about what the process that you're doing, document it, present it, share that information, because we will not be expected to do that in the industry. But if you don't learn it at this stage, in the industry you will not be able to keep up. So that's why they emphasized a lot about these things. And that was what we used to present in the jury. And one more thing that was very good, I felt, was that we were asked to give our self reflections about every module that we did. So what we think we learned, what we think could have been done better. So that way you're not only looking at your own work and assessing it, but you're also given that opportunity to be in a third person place and judge it. So that will help you in your career also, where you will be in a higher position. You will have to guide others, assess their work. So that place, I think, we will be able to manage it in a better way. And I think that is something everyone should pick up. Start evaluating their own work before just passing it on to someone to review it and give it back to them. So that way, I think it is definitely a skill that has to be developed.
Agreed. And I think that's what I've seen in the young designers now, that like self awareness is really important. How is your work? Where do you stand? And how where you want to improve? Where you should improve? And other things. It's really important how you can judge your work and everything.
Yeah, and along with that, self initiative. I would strongly suggest that to young upcoming designers who are starting their career. I am also very new to this, but still, this is something that I have learned, that in any field you are, if you are taking initiative, if you are willing to put in that extra effort, if you're proactive, it gives you a significant amount of result. Nobody is going to sit behind you to learn about things when you grow up, right? But if you start doing that for yourself, you will see the result. And I have seen that, so I would strongly suggest that.
I agree. Amazing. So, what would you say one learning that you have got from your masters? Like, what would you say one piece of learning that you would have got from a masters?
Mm, I would say keep your eyes open all the time. Keep your eyes, keep your ears, everything open. Be aware of your surroundings. It is not about a project that you're doing and how you are going to achieve the result, because you will not be able to analyze something. You will not be able to figure things out on your own unless somewhere you have had some experience of that. So throughout the journey of your life, I would suggest that be aware, keep learning, like read newspaper. Even that is a basic thing that people are starting to lose hold on. Read newspaper, read articles on your mobile news apps or whatever. Be aware what is happening in the world, what is happening in your city, the economics, everything. Just at least to be familiar with what is happening. You don't have to know the details and stats, but that helps a lot, I feel, because in interaction design, we are learning about how to interact with users, collecting data, interview, survey, all those things. But if you're not able to understand what the person is trying to tell, and you're just listening to his words, then there is no point in it, right? If the user had known everything, we wouldn't have had a job. We are there to bridge that gap between user, what he needs, and what has to be done. So to do that, we have to empathize with them. What is the meaning of empathizing with them? is to understand exactly what they mean and not what just they say. So I feel being aware and being conscious is something that really helped, and I will definitely carry that throughout my life.
Agreed, and I think that that really makes sense because that's a really apt advice that you have said. Like what kind of learning that you have read, and really knowing uh, the environment, knowing the people really helps. And as you said, like keeping an eye open, being observant is really important. As you are a designer, you learn certain things which you might use at some place which you don't even know right now.
Yeah.
So being observant really helps. That definitely that's amazing advice. So as we go down, like you chose like freelancing as a path that you want to take forward. So how did that came along? Like because usually people would be like, yeah, I have done a master's, I have taken a break, and I want to join a company. Like why freelancing?
So I'm still very fresh to answer this question, but I would still try my best. So I had an option. Obviously, placements were a path to take, but I felt like now I can afford to make mistake. Now I can afford to take risk. This is the time when I'm still called a fresher. I have that opportunity where I can explore my options, I can work, I can figure things out. And this is also a stage where if I work hard enough, then I'll pick up all the skills which might take me 2, 3, 4 years to achieve if I'm taking the conventional road. So I thought maybe I should try this out. And like I said, this is not something I would strongly suggest everyone, because see, everybody will have responsibilities, they have commitments, they have like parents are dependent on children. I am not like my parents are not dependent on me. I have that freedom. They are super supportive. They are like, you explore, you try it out. If things don't work out, it's fine, you can again go back and join to a company, right? That then you can think about a fixed income and all of that. But right now you have the choice, so go ahead with it. That's what they said, and that is a luxury that I have. So, keeping that in mind, I took a call that okay, maybe another 1 or 2 year, I have to try this out. Because now, if you see, there are so many design studios, firms, companies that provide design services, right? So, all of them might have started off at some point with this vision ki, okay, I will try this, I'll figure it out, I'll try and make it happen. So, I believe that this is the time for me. If I work hard enough now, then things will roll out well. So hoping for the best, and that is my suggestion, that it's not for everyone. You see what works best for you. This worked best for me at the moment, so I'm going ahead with it.
And makes a lot of sense because I also feel, and I think we have talked about it, that like for sure freelancing has some monetary benefits. Like I feel freelancers earn more than like at least freshers. I will say that. And but also one thing I really love about freelancing is you have the freedom to choose your clients. You have the freedom to explore like other type of clients. You can be like, I have four clients with different domains, so you are learning designing for four different domains. And then later on, as you grow, you can have a team, then you learn leadership and other things. And uh, the one thing I feel, and that's my personal opinion, I feel we learn the best when we fail a lot. And I think in freelancing you have chances to fail. And
Yes,
again,
absolutely.
and,
Yeah.
and again, as you said, like it's a luxury that you have, and people definitely should not just close their eyes and listen to us and leave their job to start freelancing. They should definitely assess their situation, and if that's possible, they should definitely try it out.
Correct.
uh, yeah, and makes a lot of sense for you as well. So let's just dive. So how did actually freelancing started for you? Like how did you started finding clients, and then how did you figure out like, yeah, now is the time I should fully shift to like expanding this?
So my freelancing work has purely been based on my connections. So right now I feel this is something that I've heard from one of the clients also, to be honest, that professionalism is going down, it's declining. people are very not serious about it, not very specific, or even just saying a hello, a good morning is becoming a part of an etiquette while it was basics a few years ago. So professionalism is something that I feel has taken me ahead, and it has helped me a lot. All my work has come through contacts, through references. So I have never had to go in search of projects on websites that do provide a platform for freelancers. But I'm not saying I'm not going to explore that avenue. I'm definitely looking forward to doing that. But so far this has been a journey of purely interacting with people and building connections and bonds and leaving a mark. So if I am doing a good job, if I am building a relation with them, if I am maintaining that relation with them, definitely at some point they would recommend that I know somebody who does a good job and is professional and is like friendly with you, takes care of things like it's their own. So things like that, these small details help a lot in your journey, and I feel that has worked out for me so far. Yeah.
And makes a lot of sense. And I think uh, that's how people should start. The first client definitely is takes the major chunk and major energy of you to find. But I
Yeah.
think after that, as long as you are professional, as long as you provide them more than what they want, uh, your word of mouth and other things come into play, and definitely that makes a lot of impact. And that sounds really amazing. So what would you say, like if a person wants to start out as a freelancer, what would you say, like they should kind of keep in mind when they're starting out? What kind of advice would you want to provide?
So, like I said, think about venturing into it very thoroughly. You may have unstable income. You may not find a first client, or maybe even your second and third client very easily. You should be very organized. This is something, again, you have to do when you're your own boss. You can't wait for someone else to do the job or keep track of things. You have to take the initiative, keep track of everything, plan things accordingly. So look into your options carefully, and then if you're sure about venturing into freelancing, be organized, be thorough, don't make false commitments, be honest. Like I said, in my first internship, I you won't believe I was not very familiar with Figma. I had basic knowledge. I didn't know anything about Adobe XD, and the project was being worked on XD. And I just told them that, sir, I don't have the knowledge of how things happen, but I can tell you how it can be done, and that they respected. You may not find it in every case, and you may not be able to pull off that thing in your career all along. Obviously you have to keep up with it, but being honest helps. That gives you that even builds trust in your client, right? If you're telling them something that, okay, I can do this in this time in this much money, and then you start asking that, oh, I am not able to do it, I need more time, I need more money. So if that keeps happening, that is something that will break your deal. So rather keep a buffer time, explain it to them, be honest that, see, this is your requirement, this is what you're demanding, so this is how I am going to approach it. It will take so and so time, it will take so much money, it is my energy, my knowledge that I'm investing in it, because skill is something you can't assess it, right? So I get this question quite often, that how do I fix the pricing of my projects, how do I negotiate. So these things, again, like I said, you have to explain it to them that you are the resource, you are the asset, and you should value yourself. You should understand your worth, where you're standing in the market, what skills you are bringing to the table. And these things will come with you being aware. Like I said, be aware, read about things. If you are studying about these things, there will be some material. You are not the first person in the world who's doing this, correct? So you have some reference available somewhere. Look for it, go ahead, like hunt it down and find it, hustle, But take time for yourself again. Balance that in a right way. You are your own boss, so you should know how to relax at the same time, how much and how to work. So these, I think, summarizes everything.
Makes a lot of sense. Makes a lot of sense. I think these are really, really helpful advice for people out there who really want to think, really thinking about starting freelancing and other things. So let's your journey has been super amazing. I just want to get to one last serious question, and then we're gonna jump to some fun rounds or up in the podcast. So your journey has been amazing. You have done a master's, you have done a bachelor's, you have had amazing experiences with different domains, freelancing, getting clients, and I think getting destroyed by clients. But for sure. But so, what would you say? Like, what's next for Sanjeevni? Like, what's next for you?
This question scares me. Honestly, this is, yeah, definitely. Like I said, we have to plan things, we have to be prepared for what's coming. So, right now, I'm focusing. So, I believe like you can never stop learning. You can never ever stop learning new things because, like you saw, AI has come and disrupted the industry. Everybody is talking about AI. So I am focusing on learning more of the softwares, more of all these AI skills, how to integrate them in your ongoing processes. So that's something in the near future. But my plan is that within the next 2 years, that's my goal. That within the next 2 years, I want to build a team of mine which I can trust on, which will not just be about hiring people and getting them to do the work, but it would be about upskilling them, taking them along with me, as a group growing together. And I don't know, maybe like a firm, a studio of mine which will be providing amazing design services. Yeah, that's
Sounds
what.
amazing, and all the best for your journey because because I know you can do it and it's gonna happen. So I'm looking forward to that. So that sounds amazing, and I think now is the time I want to jump right into some amazing round. We call it the rapid fire round. Okay, so I will ask you questions. It's up to you if you want to explain your choices or not. Okay, it's a single choice. Like I will give you two options. You choose one. Okay, and thanks to ChatGPT for giving me some good questions. So so let's just start. So would you prefer working on a fixed rate project or hourly rate project?
Hourly rate project any day. Yeah,
Hmm.
because that is something. Again, your hourly based projects also have the demand for you to specify the number of hours prior hand. So it's not like you are going to demand any number of hours of worth of money or something, but that gives you an option where you can uh, willingly and wholeheartedly give everything to a project. When you know that every minute of yours is worth it, there is like a willingness from you, within you, that you want to put in that extra effort, make sure that things are on point, everything is proper. So that happens. Maybe that is an influencing factor that pushes you, makes you push your own limit. So I think that is that.
Makes a lot of sense. So would you prefer integrating AI and making an automated process or maintaining a human touch?
I think that AI has to be a part of your process. At this stage, telling that no, I'll keep everything manual is stupid. You can't just ignore it. So integration definitely helps, but right balance. It has to be a right balance. Yeah.
Okay, so this is an interesting one. Would you prefer negotiating project budgets or project timelines?
Timelines honestly are not something that you want to negotiate, because most of the times the clients are willing to give you time, but they want the money to be less. So that way it's not even my choice. I have never had like a very big issue with the time, because I think I can manage time. Money is something that is not in my hand. So
Amazing, sounds good. So would you prefer building a long-term client relationship or focus on short-term projects?
No, long term all the way, definitely. Because once you are in sync, you can do better things every time. So your first project, your short project, it might work out, it will work out, obviously you will put in your effort. But if they keep coming, if there are more projects that you start doing with that particular client, you have a bond, you have a trust, you have a relationship with them. So it's always good to revisit again, explore something new, and that experience is very thrilling. Yeah.
Sounds good. So next one, would you specialize in specific design niche or offer a wide range of design services?
Um, I personally want to be uh, like proficient in a particular domain, very specific topic or aspect, which I'm not very clear about yet. Now I have managed to touch upon everything, but as my company, I would definitely be serving the people with all the services. Yeah.
Makes sense. Uh, so would you prefer finding clients through word of mouth referrals or through some online platforms?
Word of mouth. I gave that answer to you.
Yeah, and I think it's you already answered it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So the last one is, would you like set strict project deadlines or allowing or you will allow flexibility for creative explorations?
I always tend to specify +2 weeks, +3 weeks time to my clients, because as we go ahead, there might be problems, challenges that we figure out mid process. There might be some issue from the client end, from my end, and even people working with me. If there is a personal problem, if there's a professional problem for them, I can't be like, no, you have to work, because that is what I don't want to do. The strictness, rigidness, that is what I want to avoid, right? So yeah, I never like fix timelines. I always suggest that take a week's buffer, 2 weeks buffer, explain it to them, and I believe they understand. Yeah.
That was an amazing round, and I think you really answered some banger questions and banger answers. So, the last question of the podcast.
Hmm.
So, I ask everyone who comes on the podcast this. So, as you as you have gone through the journey and amazing experiences that you have had, as a designer, what one piece of advice you would give to any budding designer out there that they should take it from the podcast and like because the design industry is really big, really growing fast, like really fast paced to be honest nowadays. So, what one piece of advice would you give to budding designers out there?
Mm, I would say that don't stick to a particular process, don't stick to a particular person's opinion. I'm sorry. People tend to keep one mentor, follow them, and they want to stick to that. So I feel that that is something that shouldn't be done. Listen to everybody, do what you believe is the right thing, but do listen to everybody, because 10 people might give you 10 different ideas, 10 different opinions. So sticking to one person or sticking to one process for that matter, that okay, I have learned double diamond, I will do double diamond everywhere. So that is not something I would suggest. Keep learning, keep exploring different approaches, because every project is unique, everything has its own demands. So don't stick to one particular process or opinion or idea. Always keep exploring more things, try and integrate new things to your process, your journey, because that's how you're going to implement what you have learned. You might learn 10 different things, but if you're following one thing all the time, then what is the use of learning, right? So that is something I would strongly suggest all the fresh new coming designers, that keep your eye open, take inputs, be positive about it, and don't leave the learning process ever. Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. And this advice was really, really great because no, and I think you said it in between as well. Being observant is really important, and it's kind of a similar approach that be observant, learn things, and not stick to one process. And as you said, even with the AI coming into the picture, like knowing things is really, really, really important. While
Yes,
you're not embrace it, but knowing things is really important. I don't know when you need it, how you need it, because when it comes to your life, you would do anything to kind of save it, like on your bread. So, and I think knowing things is really important, and I think that's a really apt advice. So I think that's the end of the podcast. And thanks a lot, Sanjeevni, for giving a lot of crazy advice and like sharing your amazing journey with everyone. Thanks a
definitely.
lot for
Yeah, yeah. It was so good to interact with you, and I'm really honored. I'm so glad. So thank you.
and thanks a lot for coming in that, because I think it was really difficult to kind of find the time in between that we could catch up, that and I think with this journey people are going to love a lot. Definitely, I'm going to leave your socials in the description below for anybody who want to reach out to you.
Definitely.
Uh, right, and thanks a lot for coming in. Thanks a lot for everyone who is watching this, and see you guys at the next one.
Thank you. Bye bye.